today we're back on the AI train. Specifically, we have some news regarding a new model that has been released. Qwen 3.8 Max is out. It is a highly anticipated model. It's been generated off of 2.4 trillion parameters. It is a MOE model. MOE model is a mixture of experts. Just imagine essentially a collection of skilled persons inside a house. Whenever it needs those people in that house to be used, it can be used. It does make fine tuning a little bit more difficult, and it adds some complexity into the whole model itself. However, it is something that is part of most flagship models nowadays. As of right now, Qwen 3.8 Max is only available on Qwen Cloud. It is not available as open weights. It seems like open weights will be released next week, so no exact timeline just yet, but it's coming soon. What that means is essentially an open weight model is an AI models where the core components are publicly released, right? So Qwen is saying, here's our entire model, allowing anyone to download it. You can run the model on their own computers, review it, study it, see how it works. You can even modify it if you need to. Essentially, it's released to the public. Previous models like 3 and 3.5 from Qwen have been released specifically with licensing attached to it, making it officially, enabled to be used in any way possible. I believe it was like Apache 2.0 in the previous models. This one has not been disclosed. It's still up in the air on whether it's going to be the same licensing model or if it's going to be different. And note that open weight does not mean open source. So even though those are very similar words, they don't mean the same thing. So yeah, this is currently out. What I'm more excited about is Qwen 3.8 27B. I use local AI when I can, at all possible. And Qwen 3.6, Qwen Coder, all these local models that are based off Qwen larger models work really, really good. I'm able to run through most of my workflows day to day, my personal workflows, not my work, and everything stays local. So I am really, really excited for 3.8. I'm curious to see how it compares to 3.6 and 3.7 locally, and seeing how much I can push it in terms of tokens per second, and integrating in some automations and workflows I have built. Note that most people will not be able to run the Qwen 3.8 Max open weights models because it is such a massive model. It's on 2.4 trillion parameters, and the hardware required to run something this large is just out of the reach for most people. However, what people are going to end up doing with this is downloading this locally, and then downloading it into an environment where they can eventually host it themselves and maybe expose it to their employees, to their enterprise, sell it like they do on Open Router, and really compete directly with these flagship models. So if we look at their own AI post here, we have the stats. They beat Fable, Opus, Gemini in some stats, and some stats they fall on par. Again, take this with a grain of salt. These are Qwen's own announced benchmarks. It's too soon to know if these are accurate. Once we have the open weights model, people host it, people can use it, leverage it, even host it on their own infrastructure if they have the ungodly amount of money required to do that, and run their own benchmarks. We'll be able to see if these are true. Even if these benchmarks are about 70-80% of what they claim, they will be competing directly with these large frontier models like Opus, Fable, Gemini, and Sol at a significant cost reduction. So if we look at their current pricing, they announce it here, but I like looking at it on an Open Router just because it looks nicer. The input price is at $2 per million tokens, output price being $6 per million tokens. Significantly cheaper than Sol, so it's almost half on the input side at $5 per input token and $30 per output token per million on Sol versus $6. So that's a huge 5x difference. And then if we compare it to Fable, for example, you're looking at 10 and 50. So 10 $10 per million input, $50 per million output. And obviously we can't really compare apples to apples because realistically there's some prompting and task completion part in these larger frontier models that maybe process these tokens more efficiently and don't charge you per each token used, whereas like Qwen 3.max and these open weight models usually burn more tokens. In theory, this has obviously not been fully tested, and we'll see more details as they come out. And then just to compare, another Anthropic model here, Opus, $5 in, $25 out per million context. This is a release that just happened as well. So yeah, it is significantly cheaper than most current frontier models. I don't expect it to benchmark or perform as well as any of the frontier models. But again, the question is not whether it's as good or better. It's that it exists. It directly competes and challenges these frontier models that are currently being released by US companies. And it really starts to question these enterprises and institutions on whether they even need to use OpenAI or Anthropic. Why can't they just host their own Chinese release model like a Qwen 3.8 Max or a Kimi K3 or a GLM 5.5 when it comes out, and really save a ton of money in subscription services while keeping their data a little more secure? So that's the real question. And the real win for me out of all this is not at the enterprise level, because I'm just a single person here. My real win for this announcement is seeing the 3.8 27B come out. I can't wait to see how that runs and performs. That's got me more excited than the Qwen 3.8 Max release. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a short news day. It's one of those things that we can't really believe what's been released until the open weights drop. I would say this is another price war start, but really we will know one way or another once the benchmarking completes, and really once people get hands-on usage. I try to get this configured, but it required signing up for Qwen Cloud, and I was like, I'll just wait. But if you are interested, if you scroll all the way down here on the article, past their own benchmarkings, you will see some instructions how to configure this with Codex and with Claude Code, and a bunch of other different ways to configure it directly to Qwen Cloud. So I'll just wait until this is released on OpenRouter and then do some testing. I really want to kind of benchmark like Qwen 3.8 Max versus Sol versus Opus versus something like a Kimi K3 and a GLM. Like being able to kind of take 5 or 6 models, give them the same prompt, letting them run for a day, even at the cost of burning, maybe $100 in tokens, and seeing what the output is in each one. Maybe I'll do a video on that later. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Go ahead and I'll link all these articles and news headlines down below if you want to take a look and read. Exciting news. We have a new Chinese model coming out. It's a huge model. We don't know how it compares to the US giants because they don't like to post their parameters. Some say these are in the 5 trillion, some say these are in the 7 trillion. Who knows? It's undisclosed. However, we do know this is one of their latest and greatest models, and it seems like almost every month there is something better and crazier coming out of China, which really will shake up the US market. Maybe hold up an IPO here and there, so who knows? That's all I have for today. Go ahead and subscribe if you like the content, and I'll be out with the video tomorrow.